Hello everyone, this is Timo with productivesuperdad.com and today I'm very excited to be talking with a very busy guy, I assume, a person who is behind a very popular productivity tool, a person who is an editor of a productivity magazine. He's a blogger, he's an entrepreneur, and he's also a family guy. I'm very happy to be talking with Michael Sliwinski of Nozbe.com. Welcome, Michael, to this call.
Hello, Timo. Thanks for having me.
Sure. I think that it's fair that if you tell us a little bit about yourself by using your own words.
Okay, thank you. As you said, I'm running Nozbe, so it's a time and project management application, and I'm also running Productive Magazine, which I really like. It's a tri-monthly magazine, a PDF that we try to assemble the best productivity tips and tricks for everyone, just to inspire people to get more done and have a happier life. And of course, yes, I am a dad. I have a 3-year-old. And actually there is a new child coming on the way in beta.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So I am a working home dad because I work from home because in my company we are 12 people and everybody works from home. We all telework. There is no fixed office. We don't have one. We will not have one. We don't want one.
Okay, yeah, that's really awesome information there. Um, now, since we are talking about tools and the focus of this interview is all about tools, so um, if you are an entrepreneur, do you think that productivity tools are required in order to be productive, or do you think that you can manage your work and your life without any productivity tools?
Well, you can. I mean, if, of course, the mileage may vary, but what I have found out over the course of years running my tool and learning productivity tips and tricks, learning lots of productivity systems, the most important thing is that we don't store the information in our brain.
Sure.
It's a very bad place to store information in, because the information that we store in our brain picks up at the moment we're not aware of it. I mean, like for
Hmm.
example, something that has to be done tomorrow, I'm going to be thinking about it today,
Sure.
and it's actually wasted time and wasted moment. And tomorrow I may forget about it actually all the way because I may discard the information. So what I found out is really important, like when I was getting things done, is that you have to have a system to store the information that comes your way,
Yeah.
and you either deal with it, but you have to know how to deal with it. And if you don't know how to deal with it, if you don't make these decisions, if you don't train yourself to make these decisions, what to do with the inputs that are coming to you,
Hmm.
you will get lost.
Sure.
And the thing is that there are some people who are very well organized by default,
Hmm.
like my wife.
Hmm.
She's very well organized by default.
Okay.
She's very natural, and I am not.
Hmm.
I needed to learn how to get organized. In my case, what I have discovered, which is very nice, I'm not a hopeless case. You can learn how to deal with this with the information that's coming in and how you can get things done. But you have to really learn it, and you have to really treat your brain as a place for creative thinking,
Yeah.
and store information somewhere else.
Sure. I mean, it totally makes sense because when you think of it, like maybe like 10 or 20 years ago, and then when you compare that time to this year of 2012, so the amount of information has exploded, and there
Oh
is
yes,
so much stuff going on and so much information out there that you have to remember and that you have to act on, and
yes.
you are so overwhelmed, and I think that without any proper tools it becomes merely impossible to remember everything. And as you said, that storing things on your brain is a very inefficient way of doing things,
Oh, it
and
is.
you want to have a place or storage where to actually keep that, and that makes sure that you are actually going to find that information later, and that you are not missing any critical piece of information. So I totally agree with you. But let's say that you are an online entrepreneur. I mean, of course, there are lots of different entrepreneurs, but let's say that you are an online entrepreneur and you are dealing with processing information every day on a
Yes.
daily basis. Um, what set of tools would you recommend for an online entrepreneur, and do you have any favorite tools that you would like to recommend?
Yes. Yes. Right now, as you know, on my blog, I am running an iPad-only experiment,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
means that I'm using the iPad. Actually, we're recording this through my iPad.
Yeah.
And it's not an endorsement of an iPad or anything like this, but iPad is a small device.
Yeah.
It's a small device with a relatively small screen if you compare it to my big screen of my computer. And also the power of the iPad is small relatively to what we can do on the desktop computers.
Yeah.
But it has some constraints and everything. But what I've discovered doing this iPad experiment, and I'm still in the middle of it, so there's still lots to discover, is that right now, especially as an online entrepreneur, we should rely a lot more on the clouds.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the cloud because there is no one big cloud,
Sure.
but on the clouds, on the cloud services. I think the cloud services work together a lot better than we think they do. And many cloud services are tailored for different things. Like, for example, in my case, as for the iPad, I use iCloud to synchronize my calendars, synchronize my contacts, synchronize all this information, and also some data from some apps.
Yeah.
But I use Dropbox to synchronize my files. I use Evernote to synchronize my notes. I use Nozbe for project management to synchronize my tasks with my team and with my other devices. And also I use Gmail and Google Docs to work collaboratively via email and via documents. So I use, for example, this kind of set of tools. They're the most important tools. Oh, and I use Kindle to read. So I also send PDFs that I normally would store on my computer. I send PDFs to my Kindle storage because Amazon gives you this, and then you can read them on the Kindle, which is a lot better than reading on the computer screen.
Yeah.
So all of these cloud services, right now what I have found out is they are really, really amazing how they work together. They synchronize very well together as well. And in this way, you can have this external brain of yours in the cloud. And whether you have an iPad with you or the iPhone or a Mac or PC, you can still access this information from all these devices, which is for me an amazing thing, an amazing achievement, because now you don't have to be tied to one device, to one computer, to one thing. Like if you would go away from your office, you wouldn't know where the information is. Now you can know because you can just pull up your Android phone or your iPhone and access this information without any problems. That's why I think the cloud and the clouds, so the cloud services, should be the key for an online entrepreneur or for any busy professional, I think.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that this whole cloud concept has truly revolutionized the way we process information and the way we access information. So I'm a little bit scared to think where we would be right now without any any cloud
Yes.
cloud functionalities, because it's such an essential part of any modern application, whether it is an productivity tool or any other type of tool. So I think that it's a very, very critical component nowadays when it comes to applications.
Yes.
Yeah. So but let's say that you are choosing a time management tool, and as you know that there are lots of tools out there, and let's say that you are just entering into this world of time management, and then you are trying to choose the right tool for the job. So do you think that there are any certain functionalities or characteristics that should be found on a time management tool? Do you think that there are any of that kind of stuff that should be considered before making the selection?
The problem with time management tools like my tool is that there are so many of them, so it's really hard to choose.
Yeah.
And many people can get lost with that. So I don't want to just sound like endorsing my tool, but what I want to say is that you should try many of them, many of them that you think may suit your needs, whether they're just nice, they look nicely, or they have the features that you might think that they are good. And then when you start using a tool and do a trial, when you work with a tool for 1 week or 2 weeks, and the flow of the application, the flow of putting data in there, or the flow of managing data in there suits you, stop and start using that, and keep on using that tool. Don't look somewhere else. Many people, the mistake that they do is that every month they switch to a different tool.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense, because then you're not being productive, because you're spending all this time investigating all these tools and everything. So you should try with something. You should try maybe 1 or 2 tools first week, compare them, and then see what fits your needs, and that's it. So, and I think that that's the most important thing. For example, my tool has been built the way I work, or the way I would work. And I found out over the years that there are many more Michaels like me who work the same way. So that's why we have hundreds of thousands of customers. But that's the thing. People have to find their way, and there are so many tools out there, and all of them are good. There are really lots of good tools there.
Sure.
Second thing I would say is that it depends how you work. For example, in my case, I have the iPad, I work on my Mac, and I have my iPhone. So for me, the critical part is the syncing thing. So for me, the syncing mechanism is very important, and this is, for example, what I need. Third thing, what I would suggest is to look is if you need collaboration. For example, if you need to collaborate with others, or if you don't need to collaborate with others, then you stick with this one that is just better for just self-management and everything. If you want to collaborate, search for a tool that does collaboration very good. So these are the things that I would suggest. And of course, a bonus is if the tool syncs with the tools that you already use. Like, for example, you use Google Calendar, you want a tool that also syncs with the Google Calendar, so you can see the events in your Google Calendar, or if you use cloud services or everything like that. So I would say these are the most important things to look at. But the most important thing is to find your flow, to find an application that works the way you work, and stop there, and don't go anywhere else.
Sure.
Keep using it.
Yeah. That's a very great advice, and I think that I just started testing Nozbe myself. I created this free account, and of course I have been looking through the different functionalities, and I think that one of the greatest things is that it connects with plethora of other tools out there. So it's not just Nozbe, but it's really connected to these other external data sources out there. So that's a really awesome thing, and I have to tell you that I really love your tool, and of course there is plenty of things that I have to learn in order to become more efficient when using that, but I'm very impressed. Just makes me wonder, how long have you been developing this tool in the first place?
So we are running this already 5 years now.
Okay.
And it's never finished. It's all the time we have to improve it. So 5 years now running it, and and it's a great ride, because it's fantastic. We have really fantastic users, and we enjoy doing it every day. So and we have new challenges all the time. Right now we have lots of challenges with the new apps. We just launched a desktop application, and there are so many cool things about it that you learn so much still. And what I really like about this, and you learn a lot from your users, how the users use the application, right? Yeah. And then when you learn from them how they use the application, you start think differently how you use the application, and then you learn from each other. So there are lots of things like that. And like when you mentioned the integrations, for example, we integrated with Evernote. The integration with Evernote is a very cool story, because I was busy renovating our flat.
Yeah.
And I was putting my tasks, what to buy, what to search and everything in Nozbe. But then again, I was putting photos of the things I had to buy in Evernote.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, it's really kind of stupid. I have this tool for that and this tool for that. Why they don't work together? Because I would have everything on one page. I wouldn't have to start searching for things. And I thought, maybe we should hook up with Evernote to see that if this could work together, so I could renovate my house better. And this is the thing. Many times our users give us these perfect use cases how something would work, and then after that we just follow through and we try to implement this into our application.
Yeah, sure. It totally makes sense. So listening to the customers and their feedback, and then it's almost like the customer-driven software development in a sense, because new features and ideas may be told by your customers, so you're able to develop the software even further. So,
but what you have to watch out for the customers, because sometimes they tell you what they want, but they don't, but they actually don't, but they tell you a feature that they might want,
Yeah.
but then you have to ask them again what they want to do.
Hmm.
And when you ask them what they want to do, then you may find out an easier way to achieve the same goal without implementing the feature that they're asking for.
Yeah.
So I have found out that it is also very, very often the case that I sometimes reject a feature from a customer, but I keep on asking the question so that
Sure.
I really know why they need the feature. And when I don't know why they need the feature, then I think, maybe this can be done in a different way. So there are lots of things like that. That's why I love my job so much.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's great. Now let's talk a little bit about systems and especially time management systems.
Yes.
This is yet another area where there exists quite a lot of different time management systems out there. And so what I'm thinking is that do you think that like on the other end we have systems and then we have tools. So do you think that they can stand alone by themselves, or do you think that you always need to have a tool which actually complements the system so that the system becomes perfect? Or what's your take on this?
So the thing is that there's always any tool that you need. I mean, the tool can be a piece of paper and a pen. I
Yeah,
mean, they
sure.
always need the tool to implement a system. What happens is that you don't always need an online, time management application. You might not. It might not be your thing to have one. Like
Yeah.
for example, for me, I read the Getting Things Done book.
Hmm.
I loved it. I loved the system. I thought I was inspired. I was like, yeah, this is the thing I want to implement. Where's a tool for that? And I'm a geek, so I wanted to find an online tool for that.
Sure.
I couldn't find one, so I wrote one.
Yeah,
But
that's very logical, I think.
yeah, and it was back in 2005 when I found it. When I stopped reading, when I started reading Getting Things Done. It was 2007 when we launched, so it was a long time span.
Yeah.
But I was building it in the meantime. But what happens is that not everybody is like that. Many people work very nicely without any sophisticated system. They have their own kind of systems. Like for example, I still use a physical inbox.
Yeah.
A physical inbox they have in my office.
Sure.
Like David Allen says in Getting Things Done, you have to have an inbox where everything comes in and you process the inbox. So it's very funny in my family because sometimes my wife, she puts a document near my bed and she then asks me later, did you look at the document?
Yeah.
What document? I put it next to your bed, next to the bed. Well, next to the bed, I don't have an inbox next to my bed. There is an inbox in my office. If
Yeah.
you put it there, I will process it. But if you put it somewhere else, I don't care.
Yeah. Sure.
So we have this kind of old school system of using the inbox as a one placeholder when everything goes through it, and I'm confident that I will look through this. Whenever I put somewhere there, I know I will process it at some point. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but I will process it. So I will look at it. That's
Yeah.
why, and this is taken directly from Getting Things Done system, and this is really not a big tool, this inbox thing. I mean, it's really just a box, right?
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes you should use also the old school tools, but there's always some kind of tool that you need to support the system. And the same goes with systems. I mean, you don't have to be, a truthful follower of Getting Things Done only to achieve productivity nirvana.
Sure.
I mean, you can use different. I mean, there's Franklin Covey. I mean, actually, I read most of the books about the systems, of course, because I wanted to investigate how they work, what's the difference between them, and everything. And most of the stuff that I'm still doing is from Getting Things Done, but there are some things from Franklin Covey that I really like. There's some concepts from action methods that I really like. So I'm trying to implement some of them. It just depends on the context where I'm at, and then on how I work. Recently, I just read a very nice book about procrastination. It's called The Now Habit. I really recommend it, and I also implemented some of that into my workflow. So it all depends how you roll. It all depends where you have your weaknesses. For example, my weakness was sometimes with procrastination. It is might sound funny, but it's true that sometimes, for example, I was procrastinating on a certain task because I was afraid of it or it was too big or something.
Sure.
So the Now Habit, for example, book helped me there. And you will have to work on these things to make sure that you have the way you roll. I mean, none of the systems is written for everybody, but we should at least try to study some of it to make sure that we can find our own path.
Yeah,
let's say.
sure, sure. And something that I just realized that in some funny way, you need to have a tool to make the system more productive in a way. So that there are certain things that automation and the tool is taking care of. I mean,
Yes,
for you, so that you don't have to do manual things there. And I think that in that ways. Tool is a great way to complement the system. So of course you can
totally.
have the offline or the paper version of it, but let's face it. I mean, I have been doing that, and now I have to say that I'm moving more and more into the cloud-based applications
Yes,
and services, so I can truly see the benefits. So that I'm not missing that piece of paper which has the crucial information that I should be, acting on. So
exactly.
yeah. Now, we already talked about getting things done, or GTD
Yes.
for short, but as your productivity tool Nozbe is based heavily on GTD, so what was the original decision to actually stick with the GTD in the first place? I mean, you said that you read the book in 2005,
Yes.
and what was the decision behind that? Was that the best system out there at that time, or were there any other reasons that made you choose that particular system for your own use?
I came to GTD after having read the books by Franklin Covey, by Stephen Covey. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
by Stephen Covey, and I liked Stephen Covey's systems and ideas, but they were for me too complicated a little bit, too advanced, and GTD was very straightforward. It was
yeah,
straightforward. There was like the main concepts from GTD, which I based Nozbe on in the very beginning, were very simple. So first of all, you have projects.
hmm,
So project is any action that requires more than one step. So you have projects.
sure,
Then you have context. So you work in context, like on the phone, in the office, when you're on errands, this kind of context.
hmm,
So there's the second thing. And the third concept, which I really like, is next action. So when you have a project, there are many actions that you have to take. You have to choose your next action. Choose what you want to act upon right now to make the project, to move the project a little bit more forward.
sure,
And that's why these three things were very simple for me, very easy to grasp. And what I hated about that time many tools
hmm,
was this thing that if you would put lots of things lots of projects, lots of tasks,
hmm,
you would have to go through them every day.
yeah,
Why would I want to go through all of my stuff every day? It
sure,
doesn't make any sense. It's not scalable. I mean, it doesn't scale.
no, yeah,
So that's why, for me, the concept of starting an action and making it the next action was very, very cool. And I already knew it from Gmail, because in Gmail you could start an email and then you could only see the start email. And that's why, for example, this was kind of, for me, straightforward. And the idea of putting stuff there and
hmm,
then finding the next action, discovering next actions, and learning the habit of splitting a project into small chunks, into small pieces, was the main drive to choose GTD. Because GTD, the thing is, GTD sometimes says, and I really like it, that of course you have to have higher goals, higher
sure,
ideas.
yeah,
You have to know where you want to go.
of
And
course,
many people are afraid that if you choose a wrong wall, and
hmm,
there is this saying, if you lean a ladder into the wrong wall, you climb it very fast, but then you are on the wrong wall, right?
yeah, sure,
Yes, but you have to learn to climb.
of course,
Because if you can climb very fast onto the wrong wall, and you realize it's a wrong wall, you
hmm,
climb down and you move to the good wall, but you already know how to climb very fast.
sure,
So for me, the idea of GTD was not to find my goal, my ultimate purpose, and all this stuff,
hmm,
but how to deal with my daily things, how to deal with my daily tasks, and to learn the good habits
hmm,
of putting projects, of putting next actions, of putting into context, and with that, searching for my goals, for my ultimate, purpose or whatever. So this practicality of getting things done was my main attraction. That's why I built a tool for that.
okay, that's really awesome info there. Um, Now, I think that we are soon to be finishing this interview, but there is still one thing that I wanted to ask you, and this is what I have been reading about on your blog, and you have a very, very interesting experiment going on. So that you are actually trying to run all your stuff through an iPad, and I think that generally speaking, this whole revolution of tablets is very important when it comes to productivity. But please share us your experiences of your iPad and this very, very interesting experiment. What has happened and what have you experimented so far, and is it possible to just replace your laptop with an iPad?
You know that I think it might be. I think it might be. You know, it's. I just have a very good. I have a very good, laptop. I have a very good, very good laptop and a very big screen and everything. And I was very happy with that setup. But I was thinking that what I really like about the iPad is the fact that the iPad is a focused device.
Yeah.
Like for example, right now I have just opened Skype, and I can see your face in Skype. So the thing is, I'm not tempted to do anything else. I'm not tempted to check my email. Let's see if something is coming. Or I'm not tempted to do anything else because I can be present in this conversation with you right now. And this idea comes across to all these apps. Like for example, mail application. I love mail on the iPad because I touch my email. I touch my email with the finger. It's so much fun. You just go tong tong, and you touch the email, and you move it to a different folder. You move it up. You process it to 0. It's perfect. It's very nice. And the fact that the email application is far behind. I mean, when I'm on a different application, I don't see the mail application. There is no notification going on. You have new email. Open me now.
Yeah,
and all this stuff. So it's a very focused device. Second thing. The idea of touching things, it's so much. I mean, it's so cool. It's so much fun. It's incredible. I mean, it's really. When I got my first iPad, I was just it was fun to read some email or to read some news and everything. But I never thought about it how to make it really a creative device. But now. There are just constraints of the iPad which you just embrace and you just start, using it. And for me, these constraints of the small thing are just amazing. And also the portability. It doesn't weigh anything. It's a very small thing. I have a very small. I don't have a backpack anymore. I don't have a backpack. I just have a very small bag, and I put it into my bag, and that's it, and off I go. And today I was working remotely all the time. I was in in a cafeteria and in a bar, and I was working over there, and it was perfect. I was there. I could have a cup of coffee, and I would work there, and I would just put my iPad there, and nobody would know that I have a whole office here, inside.
Sure.
So it's incredible. And of course, my iPad is a 3G iPad, so I have, or 4G, however you want to call it, but it's connected through the cellular network, which means I'm all the time online.
Sure.
So it's not a big deal anymore for me to start searching for connection for a hotspot or whatever. I'm all the time online. I just pull up my iPad, I get things done. I process email or whatever. I close the iPad and that's it. I don't know. I feel like I'm touching my things more. I feel like I'm more in that, and also the idea that I'm more focused because there's only one application at a time. And so far, I like this setup. I like that it forces me, as I said, to use the cloud services a lot more than I used to, and also it forces me to think a lot more about what I'm doing with my computer. Because when you have a big computer and it's powerful, it's very easy to slack off.
Sure.
To put files there, put files here. I'll just do it later. This I don't have to order. This I don't have to make a decision about it now. I can do it later. And because the computer is so powerful, you don't care. It just doesn't matter. With the iPad, whatever is coming in, you're thinking, what should I do with that? And what should I do with this kind of information in the future to make sure that it's being processed? Maybe I should put it there or send it over there or whatever. So this kind of things, with a small device, I know, make me rethink a bit how I work. So even though I'm sure I will still be using my Mac at some point, sometime, but I can do pretty much 80% of the stuff that I'm doing on the iPad, and I love doing it on an iPad. So far so good. There have been some setbacks. There have been some issues, which I will comment on my blog. But so far, I'm loving the experience.
That's very interesting, and I'm not an iPad owner myself, at least not yet. But I'm I'm about to make the transition very very soon, and I'm of course looking forward to connect to Nozbe with my with my iPad as well. So yeah, I think that there is this completely new market and new way of doing things with tablets, something that didn't exist before, and now it's everywhere, and all the major manufacturers are pushing new models to the market. So I
Yes.
think that there is a very very bright future when it comes to tablets. By the way, have you do you own iPad 3, or which version of the iPad do you
The
have?
newest one, yes. I have the newest one, yes.
Yeah.
I used to have the iPad 1,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't upgrade to iPad 2. I didn't feel like I needed that because
Hmm.
I was still using it as a browsing device, and iPad 1 is perfect for that. And we still keep iPad 1 at home because my 3-year-old likes to play with that.
Yeah.
There are so many great apps for small children on the iPad, so we use the iPad 1 for that. And I bought the newest one because of the screen. The screen is just gorgeous. The Retina screen is just fantastic. So I bought the newest one right now.
Oh, that's very interesting. I try to remember that when I'm, looking for that iPad and when I'm going to buy that. So, I have heard so much about this version 3 of iPad. So it's very tempting device, and I'm really
Yes.
looking forward to get my hands on that device as soon as possible. So yeah. Um, well, it has been a pleasure talking with you. It has been a super fun, and I have learned new ideas and new thoughts and experiences, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you at some point again. So thank you for being on this interview, and I will talk to you very soon, Michael.
Thank you, Timo. Thanks. Good luck with your website, with Proactive Super Dad. We Proactive Super Dads have to, hold together. And thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
It was
sure.
fun.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, bye bye.